X Property Group LLC in the house, everybody. And this is Local Keys and Contracts with me, Gabriel, as your host, Keanu as co-host, and then we got Braden and Heber, two killers in the industry, coming in live right here, right now. We're going to talk about flips. We're going to talk about burrs. We're going to talk about everything because realistically speaking, these guys are doing just about everything and anything there is to do with regards to real estate investing. Braden and Heber, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man. We're stoked to be here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Dude, please, can you tell us, like, what got you into real estate investing? What got you into the entire flip? Like, why Cleveland?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, I think real estate, it's something that's like a little bit of a hack, and it's something that we've always been interested in creating passive income for ourselves so that we can, you know, trade less of our time for money and kind of take back some of that time. So I first got into real estate in Utah, actually. Bought a duplex out there, and it's really popular thing in Utah. It's called house hacking. So it's basically where you get into a duplex, you live in one unit, you renovate the other, and the goal is that you can try to cover the mortgage with the rent that you collect from the other unit. And so my wife and I, we bought this really, really crappy, just beat up, rundown duplex out there for $400,000, and then we had to put, you know, a ton of money into it to get it rent ready. It's been a great investment. Like, we've cash flowed really well on it.
Did you do a lot of the work yourself?
No, so we hired a contractor. Yeah, I wish I could say we did a lot of the work ourselves, but we hired a contractor to do it. And then it was awesome because our tenants paid most of the mortgage. And so that's kind of where we got our start. And it was like, okay, this is really cool. And then eventually when we started looking at Cleveland and the numbers out here, you can do the same thing, but you can do it with either a lot less money or you can do a lot more volume. So.
And I know, like, just between our deals alone, you guys are doing a lot of flips.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Primarily, how do you end up figuring out the numbers whenever it comes in? Is it a pretty set formula that you guys are using? Like, how did you guys start that path?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, like Braden was saying, looking at properties, you want to kind of, it's helpful having like a basis point if you have a little traction in certain areas, or I guess you can go in cities or places, but we had a little bit of traction with some properties we owned ourselves. And so it was just nice to be able to look at, different comps and look at different things and see what could we realistically be shooting for. Honestly, a lot of it was just kind of, I guess you could say, divine intervention. Like, we got connected through, Maya, who, is now no longer with us, an amazing person. She basically connected us to everyone that we have out here, and Daryl connected us to you, and then we just kind of just branched and networked. And we were talking yesterday about how we have just like an awesome team just out of, like, we didn't know any of you guys, a year ago, but it's just cool how we've like really just built up this good network of people who we just enjoy doing business with, that are easy to work with. And kind of answering what you're saying on the first one is like, how'd you get into real estate? We do sales. We do like solar sales specifically. And we have a phrase that's called knock doors to own doors. So the goal is to like knock a lot of doors, make a lot of money, like just work your butt off until you can make money, and then get real estate, own doors, and then like build a portfolio. Like 3 years ago, they brought in, Braden is one of the owners, and he brought in like some people to talk about that. And I remember being like, dude, real estate's the move, but there wasn't like a clear path of how to do it. They just were like, yeah, you want to get into real estate, you want to knock doors to own doors, but they never really showed you how to do it. And so that's why this has been really cool, because it's like we're able to see a path of exactly how to do that and like a viable option. And then we're definitely of the mentality of like, we want to just like share this with as many people as possible, like get them into it, because it's been such a cool thing for us. Like, hey, you can do it now. It's like, this is not some far-fetched idea. It's like, hey, just you provide the capital, we will show you how to do it, and we'll walk you through it, because we've always wanted that mentorship or that holding hand experience that we're giving our clients or trying to provide to our investors.
There's so many touch points that you kind of hit on that I'm curious about. So it's like, okay, first and foremost, out-of-state investing. Across the board, one of the biggest pitfalls for investors, I know Keanu and I both are dealing with this across the board, but anybody who's coming in from out of state, it's such a daunting experience trying to build that team, trying to set that up, trying to make sure that the people that you're relying on that are boots on the ground are not only helping you to facilitate from point A, also helping you out because they're the ones that are first eyes on it.
Yep.
And so for you guys, structuring that, setting that up, I know you were mentioning Maya Rucker, amazing lender, amazing person. Then Maya ended up introducing Daryl, then Daryl, me. It's just for you guys, I guess, sourcing that, figuring that out, feeling that out. Is there any advice you can give to out-of-state investors with setting that up, incorporating systems, I know you just started like another organization tool too to try and keep organized.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a really good story. Like we
had no idea what we were doing.
So
we like to act like we were like, oh yeah, we had this big plan. We were kind of being dumb.
But I mean, we
at some point you just got to get your feet wet, right?
At some point you have to just go for it.
Yeah.
We came to Cleveland in November of last year, just like completely. We didn't even have showings. We just showed up, and then we're like, crap, we should probably call a real estate agent so we can look at properties.
You didn't have an agent?
Yeah.
We didn't have any agents, no.
We found one on...
Dude, that's how unprepared we were when we first came.
Realtor.com? Yeah, Realtor.com or Zillow. But so how it kind of all started is being in solar sales, right? So we have a solar sales company, rub shoulders with a lot of other companies and guys that are in the industry. And I was able to link up with one of these guys who told me that he had 8 properties in Cleveland that were all cash flowing duplexes. They were Section 8. So he wasn't, chasing people for money. He got guaranteed money from the government. And it was all passive. His property managers kind of handled everything with the occasional call that he had to take here and there. And so when I heard that, I was like, dude, that sounds exactly like what I'm looking for getting into real estate. And he told me how much money he was making each month off of just those 8 properties. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I got to figure this out. And so I tried to get some info out of him, but I could tell he was like a little hesitant. He didn't want to give the secret recipe to the Krabby Patty. Like he was trying to hold back a little bit. And it took like a few months, and then I bumped into him again at the gym. And I finally got him to give up, one of his sources. And so it was a guy that was selling turnkey properties. And so Heber and I went and bought 2 turnkey properties each. And that's kind of how we got our feet wet here in Cleveland, is we got connected. And that's how we met Maya, because Maya was the lender on those properties. And it was awesome. Like we bought turnkey properties. I mean, our cash out of pocket for each one of those duplexes was like, I think it was like between 40, 45 grand. And we cash flow on each one of them like $1,100 to $1,200 a month, which is crazy. So if you calculate like the money out of my pocket, I'm going to get that back in like 2.5, 3 years. Whereas my duplex in Provo, Utah, the cash out of pocket was like 127 grand. So it's going to take me almost 12 years to get my money back if there's no repairs or expenses, right? Which we all know there's going to be. And so that's what really like turned our head. And once we were able to get those duplexes, we were able to have a good experience. We have so many guys in our industry. What kind of sparked it is we have a lot of young hustlers, entrepreneur type guys in our industry in solar. We have 18-year-olds making close to $500,000 a year, all this money, and we want to make sure that we can help kind of steer them in the right direction to be smart with that money, not just go blow it on Lamborghinis and partying and dumb things that, it's not going to create any long-term benefit for them. And so once we were able to figure it out ourselves, it was like, okay, we gotta assemble a team out here so that we can help these guys get some turnkey properties. And that's how we got into flipping. It's not like we even started out thinking that we were gonna flip houses or that was the goal. it was, we just wanted to get properties for ourselves. And then it was like, hey, we have all these guys making all this money, you know, is that saying you want it done right, do it yourself? We wanted to control the experience and make sure that they were actually buying solid quality properties and that they weren't going to get ripped off by, you know, a crappy property or a crappy contractor. And so we were like, we're going to put the team together. We're going to go find the houses, rehab them, get them turnkey ready, and then we can funnel those to those guys so that they can get cash flowing like we are. So that's hopefully that gives you a little bit of the backstory.
And that's a great niche right there, the turnkey rentals, you know, because when you do like a regular rental, like taking okay, we got to find the right buyer, et cetera, but people are buying up turnkey rentals all day.
It's perfect because I've never had investors like you guys. I mean, these guys literally directly from Utah, Arizona, directly from your guys' company. I'm assuming you guys were working that same day on Friday. Flew in after getting in on Friday. You guys immediately set up. We had a whole itinerary from like beginning of the morning all the way till 10 o'clock at night. I'm sitting in Corbo's in the middle of a pastry factory.
And we're game planning.
We're still grinding it out until like 10 o'clock at night. I mean, these guys never stop. These guys never sleep. And then at the same time, too, it speaks volumes for how your setup is for your clientele in the background. Because the cool part is you can have the work ethic, you can have the incentive, you can have the drive, but your systems and processes are actually genius. Because the way that you have it set right now is within those turnkey flips, people are doing it. But I've never quite seen it where it's people that you are trusting and that you know directly that are in the same space as you. So it's perfect because you're just turning things around, and that turnover, you don't have to deal with one market time frame. You don't have to deal with anything. You just immediately switch gears after you end up acquiring the property. I know sometimes you have them already locked up by the time it's bought.
Yep.
You know, so it's wild because with that volume starts to go crazy, growth starts to go crazy. I know you're doing it right now. Like, how many at this point are we at per month?
I mean, currently, you know, you hear all the cheesy phrases. Real quick before I answer that, like all the cheesy phrases like your network is your net worth and stuff like that. That only makes sense or like is true if you're around like-minded people that are like looking for the same goals. So, and it has to like, you have to also provide value, right? It's not just, you're not just going to be rich from hanging out with rich people. It's like, I think we've been able to network with some good people and be in the same mentality, like entrepreneurship mindset of like, hey, we want to get into real estate. Other people that are like, hey, I want to find, you know, passive income flows of, you know, streams of income or whatever. And so once you can provide value to those types of people, you become valuable and they trust you. And I think what Braden said is really important, like us being our own investors first, proving the concept, and then going to others and saying, hey, follow us, this is what we're doing, is super helpful because they don't want to follow someone if they haven't done it, you know? And if your rentals have been flopping, they're like, oh, why am I going to buy it, you know? Yeah. So I think it's helpful saying, hey, like, you know, we got these.
Did you have any hiccups like starting off, like, first couple?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Let's hear about that.
100%. I mean, so our first couple of properties, we probably shouldn't have bought. Like, there was like just raccoons had gotten into them. Like, it was really bad. Like Dirty Mike and the boys left their mark. Yeah, they definitely left their mark inside one of the units. But it's it was really bad. But we, like Heber said, we just showed up to Cleveland. We didn't have properties that even on the docket. We didn't have a real estate agent. We got
like a couple we looked at, but that was it.
We got on Zillow the morning of. We're like, we should go check out this one. So we ended up buying 2 of them. Yeah, we just ran into a couple of hiccups with, people. We got pretty much all the way through the renovation on the first one, and our contractor did a phenomenal job. He's a great dude, did a great job. But then people broke in and they stole the furnaces, the water heaters. And that was funny enough. That was actually right after we sold the property to one of our clients. And so we just told them, we were like, look, man, it's not your fault. Even though you're the owner, we're just going to cover it and take care of it for you. And it was a lesson learned for us. And then the second property, it was on the lead list or whatever. So we didn't realize that until after we bought it. And we've luckily been able to get it off since then. But yeah, so had some.
Yeah. It was, we kind of came out here, we had money, and that was it. We didn't have much of a plan. We're like, hey, we're just going to do this one at a time. And then Daryl was like, you guys need to use all your cash. He's like, I've got a good hard money guy you can connect. We're like, oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. And then like we started working with Dave, and Dave's freaking phenomenal. Love him. Like amazing teammate. Like, yeah, we would, yeah, there's so many things that like, if we didn't have happen, not to say it's luck, like I said, it was like divine intervention. Like, it's just, yeah, it's kind of crazy, like where we're at. Cause if we were doing what we thought we were going to be doing, we'd be on like property number 3 right now, you know? But we were like, hey, we're okay making less per property, paying more and hard money points, because we know we have the volume and we can get these out to this many investors. So like, how do we get into as many properties as possible? And we actually kind of stretched ourselves really thin. We got a little trigger happy at the beginning, and we were like, wow. We were like, we just, you know, in your mind, you think, oh, it'll close by this date. And in real estate, it's like, just add another month to whatever you're thinking, because it's always delayed by something. And so we weren't expecting that. And so, yeah, the first property we sold, we were just like begging for it to sell. We're like, please. And we had it sold. It's just like, oh, like the lender wants to see this before they'll give the clear to close. And we're like, dude, please, like just get them whatever they need. Like, and they were just, oh, it's in review. And we're like, oh my gosh, how long is this going to take? And finally it funded. We're like, oh, we can breathe. Okay, let's not do that again. Like, but we were stretching ourselves so thin financially. We're like, okay, let's ease back the reins a little bit. But it's a fine dance you have to do, you know. So now we reinvest pretty much all the money we get on the flips to more flips, and then give ourselves a little bit of buffer so that we're not dying.
Yeah. And I was just to add to that, one of the other things that we focus on too is like, we don't make a crazy amount on the flips, but the money that we do make, like Heber said, we reinvest into more flips, but we also reinvest into more buy and holds, because our goal is we want to get to 100 buy and holds for Apex Property Group.
So just about that.
Yeah, because it's just like, so I've spent a lot of years looking at real estate. I'm no real estate expert per se, but like just in different states and in Utah and Arizona and where we're from. And as far as a real estate opportunity and how the numbers shake out and all that good stuff, nothing compares to out here in Cleveland. And so for us, our goal is we want to get as many buy and holds as we can. And we really like to specialize in Section 8. We love that Section 8 takes a lot of the risk out of collecting rent. You know, if you can get guaranteed rent. And there's also a lot of people, one of the common misconceptions with Section 8 is that your tenants are just going to trash your property, right? And you got to worry about all these expenses. But they don't realize that Section 8 does an inspection every year or so. And if the tenants are doing more than just the normal wear and tear on the property, they can lose their Section 8 voucher. And so they actually have something to lose, because for them, that's everything. You know, that's what's paying their bills. You know, each month rent is probably their biggest expense. And so with market tenants, not to say it's good, bad, right, or wrong, it's just they don't really have anything to lose if they trash your property, because they know that maybe a security deposit of like a grand or two. But somebody with Section 8, if they do a lot of damage to the property, you know, they can lose that voucher. So for us, we love Section 8 rentals. It also feels good, like you're making somewhat of a difference, trying to help, you know, people who normally wouldn't be able to get into a home. There's a lot of families and things like that otherwise, you know, wouldn't have a place to stay, but because you're willing to put your home on the Section 8 list, it allows more opportunity for more families to get good rentals to live in. And then just out here, it's very competitively priced. So you can get a turnkey rental, turnkey duplex for 150 to 200 grand, whereas in Utah, that's going to be $400,000 to $600,000 for a turnkey duplex.
Yeah, your cash out of pocket is just so much higher in a lot of other places in the country, especially out west. But yeah, me and Braden both grew up doing like the renovation side of a lot of properties. My dad has a general contracting business in Arizona, and we'd fix up super trashed houses, just nasty. So every summer, that was like my summers. Like we'd go trash out a house. I was doing the trash outs, just nasty fridges, nasty like eviction houses, just getting it ready for the new renters for property we work for property management groups, just rent readies mostly, not like investors. But I remember like working in the summers, and I got really good at doing all the painting and all that kind of stuff. And so it's just really cool being on the investor side of it now, where it's like, we've got crews that go do that. And it's like, I remember being that guy. And it's just cool because like we know the process through and through. And like I've been at different parts of the process. And so it's just cool. But
yeah, and with that too, I know having that construction background is common, because whenever you're going through and you're essentially, once again, trusting contractors, trusting me too, whenever I'm shooting videos, you know what you're doing. I think a lot of people, out-of-state investors, it's either one of two things. Rose-colored glasses, all of the streets are paved with gold for Cleveland because everything's cheap here, so everything's an opportunity.
Yep.
But they have no reference point in terms of rehabs. Or they end up thinking, okay, rehab is going to be maybe like 30,000, right? If you can get a full gut, it's going to be only a couple slabs of coats of paint, drywall's cheap. I mean, just a little bit of floor. We're good. Exactly. And then they're like, okay, they get in over their heads when they find out the final rehab budget numbers because, oh my God, we're over budget.
Yeah.
By 30 grand.
Totally.
Like, so having that background, I'm assuming it's been phenomenal and kind of like a huge piece of the business.
Yeah, I think it gave us a good point of reference of like what we want to look for in a solid contractor that we're working with. Obviously, we don't know everything about building homes or renovating homes, but we knew what we were looking for, which I think was a really good place to start. Because here in Cleveland, I mean, there is a lot of tailgate contractors. And if you're not careful, they're like cheaper when it comes to your contractor, cheaper is not better. It's usually the exact opposite. Cheaper is a lot riskier because you'll deal with, tailgate contractors that'll give you, maybe from a good general contractor, you'll get a bid of a $70,000 remodel. And then somebody comes in and says, oh, I can do it for 40. And then they'll say it's 50% up front, 50% after I'm done. You pay that 50% up front, you never hear from them again. You just lost $20,000. Yep. And so cheaper isn't always better. Relationships is what matters most. And so, for example, we were able to form that really solid relationship and that foundation with our lender, with Maya. And we really trusted her. And so from there, we were able to get connected to a contractor that she trusted. And it's like, okay, because we trust Maya, she trusts this person, that's already a good start, but we need to meet him in person. So that was actually the reason that we flew out. That was the whole point
we flew out here in November, was just to meet the contractor, because we knew that was like the hinge point.
Yep.
If you don't have a good contractor, you're dead in the water, and a contractor you can trust. So that was like priority number one. So we flew out here, met him, and got the warm and fuzzies. We're like, okay, let's give him a shot. And saw some of it. We walked a bunch of his jobs, saw the quality of work, built the trust factor based off of his reputation and like from Maya and other stuff. Yep. And we basically were like, all right, we feel good enough to like, let's pull the trigger on a house and see how it goes. And obviously went great. So
yeah, and he's not the cheapest. I tease him a lot that he's the most expensive contractor in all of Cleveland, and I give him a hard time, but he does good work and he's worth it. Yep. And for us, if it's lose a couple bucks because we have to pay extra for a good contractor, that's way worth it for us to have that peace of mind.
One of the biggest things now is his ability is also efficiency.
Yep.
Because I know you guys
It's quick.
Up the properties. How many days after closing to be able to end up getting it done, acquired, into your system, straight into what's rehab process look like across the board? When, again, like I know you guys have a lot of
It really
Yeah.
is a quick turnaround time. Like, I guess in hindsight, when you talk about like getting it fixed and then sold and like done, like escrow, I mean, we've been around 3 to 4 months on most of these properties, which that's pretty dang fast. Like,
Yeah.
obviously it could be faster, but like when it's all said and done, because we're not listing them because of all these other factors, it's like not bad at all to only be in it, 3 or 4 months and then be done. So
Yeah, and one of the things I just wanted to read really quick, it's a quote from a book called The Road Less Stupid. So it's a really good book by Keith Cunningham. It's a great book for anybody that's an entrepreneur. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, if you're in real estate, we're in the solar industry, door to door, doesn't matter. It's just a really good book. But he says, you can have the greatest strategy in the world, but if it's not executed consistently, it will fail. Likewise, you can have a poor strategy executed perfectly, it will also fail. So that's something you ask about, like, what's our process that we really focused on. And we took the first two or three properties as guinea pigs to kind of figure out, okay, this is where we can refine the system, this is where we can refine the process. Because when it gets to a point where you're wanting to do what we're doing, which is working on 10 to 15 properties every single month, and that's a lot of high turnover, that can add up to over 100 properties a year. You're not going to rise to the level of your goals, you're going to fall to the level of your system. So what we did is we went out and found a really good software that allowed us to connect kind of all the pieces, which is you on the front end acquiring the properties, Daryl on the rehab side, and then our property management team on the back end. So when we buy a property now, there's a really good system. You go walk it right before we close, make sure there's no surprises, because that's a funny story. We bought Luck Now, which is Luck Now is just the street name for the property, but it was our third property. And when you and Daryl originally walked it, it was fine. And then we get into it, and Daryl gives us a call right after we close.
I forgot about
And he's
that.
like, the entire basement is flooded, guys. What happened? Like, it was full of water. And we were like, oh my gosh. And we were freaking out because we were like, this is going to be crazy. Like $10, $15, $20,000. We didn't know what to expect. And then Daryl was just like, don't worry about it, guys. I'll take care of it.
He's like, it's gone, water's out.
He literally took care of the entire thing.
I remember the call.
Yeah.
You guys were like, what the hell is it?
Dude, we were freaking out because we had no clue what we were like, is the house totaled? Is it okay? But like,
Daryl was like, because he knows Daryl too. He was like, don't worry about it, guys, happens all the time. Risks. Let me tell you something. Hang on, listen. Risks happen. It's the reality of living with this type of environment, this type of deals. Don't worry about it. I got it. I'll take care of it.
but that for us was such a big learning lesson. It's like, okay, now our system is, before we close on a property, our agent and the contractor are going to walk it a couple days before closing. Make sure that there's no surprises, people didn't break in. Because out here it's really common. They'll break in, they'll steal all the mechanicals. So they'll cut out plumbing, they'll cut out electrical, they'll take furnaces, water heaters. So you just want to make sure that there's no surprises. And then we close on a property, and we get Daryl the keys. We get him his first draw, and he just gets in there and gets after it and does a really, really good job. So for us, when we didn't know what to expect timeline-wise when we first got out here, we were thinking each property was going to take 2 to 3 months. But luckily, divine intervention, kind of like Heber said, we got connected with Daryl, and he's been turning these properties around in 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So he's really, really efficient. And we've just been slowly kind of dialing in that system to make sure that it's a good process. So
It was.
I mean, you had to do something though, right? To get the
You
wheels
gotta
started?
just move. Braden's very much we're a good partnership because I'm more of an analytical, let's look at this, numbers, blah, 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 blah. Braden's more of the like, let's have the courage to do something and move and do it. Like, we talked about hiring an assistant. Braden's like, cool, I've got like interviews lined up. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was like maybe thinking down the road, but probably one of the best things we've done in the last month was hire an assistant to help us keep track of all the properties, make sure utilities aren't falling through the cracks for the few months we own them. Insurance is set up for all the, like just all the little things that you kind of don't always think about. It's been so helpful. So it's a good partnership because we've got strengths and weaknesses, both of us. We're both aligned on kind of where we want to be and how much volume we want to do and how much risk we're okay opening ourselves up to. And it's just been like, okay, let's churn and burn, you know? So, but yeah, when we first got out here, there's no way we would have been where we're at with our original plan. But sometimes it's just taking whatever plan you have and just taking action and then refining it as you go. Because that's literally what we did is we're like, all right, we're booking a flight to Cleveland, had literally like no other plans other than meeting with this contractor and Maya. That was it. And then as we got here, we're like, okay, probably start looking at like getting other realtors. And then we met Gabe and we're like, okay, Gabe's doing great. Let's see how this keeps going and keep refining it. Yeah.
It's kind of funny. Anytime we submit an offer or there's a purchase agreement for a property, that like Gabe will send us a DocuSign to sign with like 20 documents, and just kind of speaks to mine and Heber's personalities. Is like, I was the one always signing those on our first few properties, but I would just go in and I'd sign it in like 30 seconds. I was just like, sign. And then I was like, Heber, I was like, dude, we got like 4 offers out and we're under contract on like 3 properties. And he was like, okay, sick. Like, can you send over the paperwork? Did you read it? And I was like, no, like, why do I need to read it? Like,
I was like
we just like, it was just, he's like, okay, I'm just going to let you sign things because it's going to give me anxiety. I'm going to feel like I need to read every document.
Yeah.
And I was just like, nah, dude, I trust Gabe. Sign. So it's, but it's been good. Luckily Gabe's done a phenomenal job and haven't signed anything that we regretted. So it's been really good.
We've had enough margin, thankfully, to like pay our learning curve tax or our stupid tax, whatever you want to call it, between the break-ins, the floods, and we're still learning. But we try to make sure our investors are really happy, and we try to usually be the ones to take the hit rather than them, because we're really trying to build like a long-term relationship and give them such a good experience that they refer us to more people. And it's just like they don't even think about it, like, oh my gosh, they hooked us up, they paid $5,000 to fix this thing on my house that, you know, wasn't even their fault, but you know, they said they'd cover it, like stuff like that, where we just want to go over and beyond to make sure that, you know, how we would be treated would be the same way they would be treated, you know, how we would want to be treated. So
it's funny because I subtract so much. When you guys are setting up their system processes, you're going back to trying to remember who said the quote, but a good plan today is better than a perfect plan.
Yep.
mm-hmm.
And you going through so many pitfalls inadvertently have become experts in, okay, I'm going to delegate out this, because I know where my strengths lie. I'm going to hold true to my strengths. I tried all these different things, so now I fucking know. Like, there's this, and this that I could use for help. And both of you guys are very, very good. I feel like at knowing where your strengths are and playing off of your strengths together as a team, which is very unique because it's like not everybody links in on that synergy. Not everybody's a great partnership in business versus you could be great friends, but you might not be great as partners in business. And I feel like you guys are phenomenal at the fact of, I know every once in a while, even when we're looking at houses, we're looking at duplexes and stuff like that, it's consistently a system where it's like maybe one of you has a point of contention, maybe one of you has a little bit more of a jump to it. And I think it's so cool because both of you guys immediately converse amongst each other, come to consensus.
Totally.
Like, it's hilarious. Me and you, we were all on a call together one time. And on the call, I remember that Braden, you must have been doing something else, and you were texting, and you were like, I rely on the whatever my compatriot thinks, or something
like,
along those lines.
I testify the words of my companion or whatever. Yeah.
And it's so funny the synergy that you and Heber have, because it's like you riff off each other so much in
Totally.
conversations, in business, but then it's like you guys are genuine friends on the side too.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, that's like, so I'll just start with a quote. Like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. But if you want to go far, fast, go with a team. So just for us, like assembling that team, and me and Heber knowing that we work so well together, we've been friends for a really long time. We actually, so we grew up knowing each other a little bit, but we got to know each other pretty well. We served a mission for our church together. So it was 2 years in Mexico. Kind of crazy. 18 years old, we got dropped off in Mexico, didn't speak any Spanish. I was horrible at high school Spanish. And you just go, you know, lead with faith and learn the language and stuff like that. But it was a really amazing experience for us because it taught us to be self-sufficient at such a young age, and also taught us how to work together in a companionship. So when you serve a mission with our church, you're always in a companionship. So you'll always see the two, you know, Mormon elders riding down the street in their bikes or whatever, in their shirt and tie, and they got their little placard. And that's something that, like, you know, it's such a valuable skill to have, is to know how to work together in a partnership. Because there's always going to be things that you don't agree on. But if you can find the things that you do agree on, come together, communicate effectively, it's not about ego or about being right. It's about getting what we want and like getting aligned on what we want, and then being able to communicate effectively if he has a different point of view or if I have a different point of view. Just being able to work through that until we can be like, okay, cool, we're on the same team, we want the same things, like let's get there. And so it's a very valuable skill to have, but that's been the biggest thing for us, because we went from doing 1 to 2 properties to now I think we're in the process of doing 12.
Yeah, we have 12 to 15 in the works, and then
we're buying more, and that's in 4 or 5 months that we've been working. But it's just because our ability to work together as a partnership, and then our ability to put together a team and play to everybody's strengths. Like Elon Musk didn't build Tesla and SpaceX trying to do everything himself. Like, he found people that were smarter than him in each one of those different fields, and then brought them on, got them aligned on the vision, and let them be, you know, the experts that they were in their specific fields, and they were able to build something great. So that's kind of what we've aspired to do here. Yeah. And we've been working on. So
I think that's a great point, is like, you don't have to know everything yourself, but you just need to have people that you genuinely trust that do know their fields, you know, whether that's property management, contracting, like any bucket of the process. You just need someone you really trust. And we like we try to learn the process, and we're still in the process of self-correcting, because that's a big part of it, is like going through some of the ups and downs and learning how to fix that and solve it so that the next property, you know, you have it ready to go. You know, you're not running into the same issue twice. And obviously we still are learning, you know, we still are adding things to our process that we learned last week. We're just like, oh, this still didn't get done. Wow. Okay. We're adding that to our process because we don't want to go another month and think we just assume it got done. We got to like see it to the finish line and make sure like it's done before we just move on. It's just cool seeing the trust factor we have with a lot of the people we work with. And I think that's part of the whole, you know, you don't have to perfectly understand the process, but you just need to have that trust factor. And what I was going to say is, I think it'd be honestly a great idea for many people like investing to just go try to do a rehab on like one job, one property. Like, just go do it yourself with like a small team and do the entire thing so you can see what it's like and truly understand. Because I remember working for investors, they'd be like, oh, you can just spray that off with the hose and it'll come off. I'm like, no, you need to like power wash it. And they're like, no. And so many times I remember working for investors and I was like, these investors have no idea what the frick they're talking about. Because they'd like tell my parents, like, just, you don't want to charge us a few $100 to power wash the side of the house where all the mud is. It's like, just wash it off with a hose. My parents are like, it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. And they're like, okay. And then the owners go out there and they're like, oh yeah, you were right. We tried it. It didn't work. And they're like, yeah, we kind of know what we're talking about. So I hated that mentality of the owners just, and I get it, investors, you're always trying to penny pinch and get good deals, but like leave people that know what they're talking about in their sphere to like give them credit, you know? And so that's why I think it's good for investors. Like we've done a lot of that. So when one, we know what they're talking about, but two, we trust more so our contractors and other people when they give us advice, we're like, yeah, that makes sense. And
yeah, and something to speak to that. So I where I kind of started dipping my feet in the house flipping and real estate waters was right after we finished our mission. I came back and worked for a guy that was also a member of our church congregation, and his name's Sean Tate. I mean, he's done probably 1,000 flips in Arizona. And owns hundreds of rentals. I mean, he's a really big name out there. I think there was a show on HGTV. It was about house flippers in Arizona, but he got invited multiple times to be on that show. He turned it down because he's not a big TV guy. But basically, his story was really, really cool. He told me how he got his start was he was going to his first year of college, right? And so you go to the first day and it's like meet all the teachers, you get all the syllabuses for each one of your different classes. And I think he signed up for a bunch of courses because he wanted to meet all the teachers, and then he was gonna drop the classes that he didn't really, mesh well with the teacher or whatever. So he went to the first day and met all his teachers. And then on his way home, on his drive home, he saw a for sale sign on a property that was unfinished. So I think it had been framed, the outside had been done, and windows were in, but it hadn't been plumbed. There was no electrical, there was no drywall, anything like that on the inside. And so it kind of just crossed his mind. He was interested in taking a look at it. And then on the way back to school the next day, he drove past it and just got this feeling like, I don't know if college is for me. And I do know that I want to get into real estate and I want to do that. So what he did without, his family knowing at the time is on his way back from the second day of school, he called the agent that was selling the property and he took all the money that he had for tuition. He withdrew from all his classes and he purchased the property, not knowing how to do any construction. And he told me that the first night he brought a sleeping bag and a pillow because that was all the money he had.
That's crazy.
He had a sleeping bag and a pillow. He slept on the floor, just on the plywood floor. And he's like, the first thing I did was I went and got an apprenticeship and started working for a plumber. Because he's like, I wanted to install my own toilet and shower so that I could use the bathroom in my house. And use the shower. So he's like, the first thing I did was learn how to do toilets and showers. So he started working for this plumber until he figured out how to do toilets and showers, made enough money working from the plumber to go buy his own toilet, buy his own shower.
What was he doing before he learned these skills?
He outside or something.
Going straight to the woods.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a really good question. Maybe paper bag. That's a good question. I should probably ask him that. But probably just going to his parents' house or something. But or his family's house. But so he learned how to do that, and then he went and worked for a crew that did drywall. Learned how to do drywall, finished the drywall in the house, and so on and so forth. He learned each trade until he was able to finish the house. He flipped it and made a killing on it, and then he was able to go buy 3 more. And that's how he got his start. And he's one of the most successful house flippers, just people in real estate in Arizona. He has absolutely dominated that market for years, for decades. And so it's just kind of to Heber's point, like a lot of investors don't really know. And so it does help. He's been able to be a way more successful investor and house flipper because he knows a little bit about the trades and is not gonna get in over his head or get taken advantage of by a contractor or subcontractor. So, but yeah, that was something that inspired me. And so that's, I think, where a lot of like the just go factor and drive has fueled for me, is like, okay, like I've seen other people just take risks, take the leap of faith and do it. And that's where, you know, we've kind of modeled that same mentality of like, it looks good, let's just go, let's move, let's make it happen.
And that's an amazing standard. Like for every single part, it's just like do or die.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I was watching this Arnold Schwarzenegger video, and it's pretty much like the furthest you can fall is just hit the ground. Worst comes to worst. But in the moment, through everything, I think for what you said is pivotal for every single investor. No matter what, in a situation, you're not going to know everything. But the reality is figuring out portions throughout so that you can just educate yourself on everything, learning from your mistakes, but also trying your best to be able to understand whatever field you're in, especially in business across the board, is pivotal. And I mean, are there certain things that you ended up learning just primarily through real estate, or are you taking anything because you're in sales yourself? Like, did you take anything and apply it direct from that sales business? Is it the sales mentality that you're switching over to real estate? Or is it something that real estate has just kind of opened up completely for you that you're learning through this process? Does that question make sense?
Yeah. I would say it's mostly that we definitely use a lot of our skills from different like past work and sales and what we do. And I take more of like a finance approach. Braden kind of takes a little bit more of the sales lead in the business, which is kind of our strengths. But I mean, obviously sales is one of those things where like it's in everything you do. You're either buying something or you're selling something all day. Like we bought this today, like, you know, there's always buying and selling every day. So really it's just providing that value to your investors and making sure they're happy. And then on the real estate side of things, I mean, obviously there's things we pulled from probably our past work that helped, but a lot of it is probably just learn as you go. Like we knew the general idea of like, you know, how to house flip and like BRRRR and all that. But like at the end of the day is you just need enough capital and enough confidence, really those two things, capital and confidence to just go for it. And we both had the capital. Braden had a little more confidence. We went for it and we were like, hey, you know, we didn't go bankrupt. Let's do it again. Let's, you know, go get 4 more. And then, okay, let's get 8 more. Okay, let's get 16. So it's cool because, yeah, when I got back from our mission in Mexico, my dad was wanting to do like house flipping, but in Arizona, the market just shot up like crazy. And there was just no way you could do it. And we didn't have the connections. We could have, like knowing what I know now, we probably could have, but it's just very different markets. And a lot of real estate is connections and finding that team and, you know, getting that ground traction to be moving forward and feel confident. But yeah, I'd say like I got my real estate license when I first got back because I was planning on like house flipping and stuff. And then I went up to Utah, never used it because it was out of state. And so I never knew that. Yeah. Because that was like the plan is like my dad's like, hey, let's do this because he's like, come on. And so I kind of have to like thank my dad for implanting in me that vision, even though it was 10, 15 years ago. But I never had the ability to do it until after meeting Braden and doing sales and getting money to be able to then invest and then taking the leap of faith out here. We're like, wow, well, this makes so much sense. Like the houses are way cheaper and your cash on cash return is great. We're like, the risk just seemed a lot lower than buying like a $500,000 house in the Phoenix area. And I was like, oh, that doesn't sound fun, you know?
Yeah. I think it's just understanding that like people love to buy things. They hate to be sold things, right? And so it's just, for example, with solar, the reason that we got into solar was because the product sold itself. Like we didn't really have to convince people of it. We just gave them the information. So solar doesn't make sense everywhere. It doesn't make sense for every single home, but there's certain markets where the power companies charge so much, you can give people more electricity through solar than what they're currently getting, and it'll cut their bill in half, or it'll reduce it by a good amount. So it'll be a good $30, $40, $50 a month cheaper than what they're currently paying. And then like a mortgage, when you buy a house, your mortgage is fixed, right? It doesn't change or go up over 25 years. But if you're renting that same property, the landlord's gonna raise rent over 25 years and raise the price. And so the same thing as mortgage with solar, when you go solar, not only is it cheaper day one, but it stays cheaper until the system's paid off. And then you just own the system. So it's literally like buying or renting a home. It's just buying or renting your energy. And so for us, that's why we chose to get into solar, is because it was a product that genuinely helped people, and we didn't have to sell it because it sold itself. It's just like, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, if you qualify for this, why wouldn't you do it, right? And so that's kind of what we applied here, is like the guys that pitched us our first turnkey rentals, I mean, they didn't have to sell us at all. We were just like, how do we get more? Like, please give us these. And then it got to the point where he was so backed up, he was like, dude, I don't have any more properties for you. And we were like, well, we need more. So we got to go figure out how to get more properties. Yeah. And so then it was like, all right, Maya, like, how do we do this? Like, how do we get more properties? And that's the way we look at it. The guys that we work with, you know, it sells itself. Like, what they want is they're doing really well in solar and sales, or in high ticket sales. And they've generated a lot of active income, but they also want to have some passive income, that they don't have to trade their time for that money. And so that's where these turnkey rentals out here in Cleveland have really kind of solved that for them. So we don't even really have to sell it to them. We just say, hey, we got a property. Here's what it's going to be out of pocket. Here's what the cash flow is going to be on it. You know, do you want it? And like, we had two of our guys be like, okay, the next 10 properties are mine. And we have guys fighting over properties because it solves a problem for them, and we don't even really have to sell them on it, because it's genuinely something that's going to add value to them and help them. So,
and I was going to say the big thing for us is like keeping our relationships good and helping people get into real estate that really have either no idea what they're doing. And so they're really trusting us a lot, because they're like, hey, like, sweet, you guys got it figured out. Like, I can keep doing whatever I'm doing. If I'm a doctor, if I'm a whatever, like, that's what I'm good at. That's how I make money. Like, keep doing that, and we'll just, you know, we'll show you how to invest in properties. And like, you don't have to think too much about it. All you need to do is provide the capital, and we'll kind of try to hold your hand as much as possible so that you just and have some properties, you know?
And when we get one of our investors a property, we don't just get them the property. I mean, we hook them up with a solid lender that's going to get them a really competitive rate on a DSCR loan. So it's a soft credit check. It's not going to affect their debt to income ratio. They're using the property's rental income to qualify, not necessarily the person as much. So it's really, really good. We get them in touch with a really good property management team that's going to help take care of the property after they buy it. I mean, even so much as we've got really good homeowners insurance guys that we hook them up with. So it's genuinely a hands-off experience. It's like, we show them the numbers. Do you want it? Yes or no? Cool. We're going to give you all the pieces that we've had to go figure out and put together ourselves. We're just going to pass those along to you so that you have everything you need to buy the property and have it be hands-off after you purchase it. Because that's what a lot of people that are interested in real estate are looking for. They don't want to be a real estate guru. They don't want to have to go figure out the things that we've had to figure out, make the mistakes we've made.
They don't want to manage the properties afterwards.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line and risk it. They just want to find a really good investment, buy it, and then not have to worry about having to go find a property management team that they can trust. We've already got one. You know, having to find all these different pieces, a good lender, they don't even know where to start. It's like, cool, we've got you don't have to use who we have, but we have all the pieces put together for you. So that's been something that's allowed us to really provide a lot of value to our investors. That's a lot more than most sellers are like, here's the property, you figure it out, you know? So.
Guys, just an FYI, I was going to soft pitch. You see how smoothly he transitioned into talking through how much value the team provides? I mean, realistically speaking, you guys have so much that you offer your team. I think outside scope, would you ever want more investors to come along with you and just kind of work through those processes? Because at this point, you're building foundational components within an out-of-state scope that you expand outside of Cleveland at any point, but Cleveland has become one of your expertise at this point.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we have, right now it's kind of funny. So all the properties that we have are spoken for, plus the next like 10 to 15, just because they're such good investments. But that being said, we are in scale mode, and we're actively looking for solid properties with you and with our team. So I have no doubt that we would have enough to be able to open it up to, you know, other investors that were interested. We're not like most real estate gurus that are going to try to like sell you information for money. Like, hey, take this, pay $5,000 and buy our course and we'll teach you how to do it. It's like, no, we're going to help you get the actual asset itself and provide you all the pieces you need to have it taken care of. So I do think it's something that, like, I wouldn't want to promise that we're going to have a ton of inventory that's not already spoken for, but we definitely, if we have a property that's not already spoken for and we can get it to somebody who's interested, we'd be happy to do that and provide that value.
Yeah, I was just going to add on to that. Yeah, and so whether that's on the investor side, like if you're looking to buy a property, obviously happy to walk you through that. Or if you're looking to, like, if you have a good general contractor that you trust and like maybe a little bit of a track record in another city and just kind of want our help building the processes or whatever, like that's another conversation we could have. But I think what Braden said is really our primary focus is just making it so you don't even have to think or stress. Like, all you need to do is bring us the capital and we will literally hold your hand and then just go. You know, you almost forget you have a property. It'll hit your bank account each month. You're like, sweet. And, you know, any questions, talk to our property management person. But obviously long-term, I think scaling would be sweet. Right now, we're kind of trying to just focus on scaling where we are, but we're not opposed to, you know, helping others out if they're in other markets and want help scaling as well, you know?
Yeah, it's just a curiosity, like especially now since you're building it out with your inner circle sales team. It's just the natural growth. I've seen it. Now you have trackables at the same time. So now you have a trackable system, trackable process that has worked.
Yep.
So now with that,
Yeah.
now all of it's tangible. Now you can go ahead and run. You're off on the races. So the main thing too is, where do you go from here? We're saying primarily now you're jumping into scale mode. You're jumping into growth mode. What are the next steps for Apex Property Group? What are the next steps for Braden, Heber? What are the next steps for us?
100%. That's a really good question. I mean, we kind of, for us, impact over income, that's the foundation of everything that we do. So for us, we want to get to a point where we have over 100 turnkey rental properties that are with us. That's a lot of homes renovated, helping Cleveland, you know, kind of beautify the area and help it look a better place in certain areas. But also, I think just help as many investors that are looking to enjoy the same passive income and the same things that we've been able to enjoy, do that as well. So I think that we're probably going to try to shoot for 70 to 100 flips over the next year to help as many investors as we possibly can get into good, solid buy and holds and turnkey rentals. So our work's cut out for us. We got a lot to do, but we're ready to do it. We've got a solid team. We've got the knowledge, and it's not perfect, but we continue to refine as we go, and just the spirit of making sure it's a win for all sides and not just us as the seller, I think is what's going to keep us on track and get where we want to go.
Yeah, and the one thing I'll add on to that is like we're very relationship based. So in real estate, especially like building the relationships and keeping them, we love to work off of referrals. So we love to, give someone a great experience or a really good experience, and then, hey, refer us to your family member who also, wants to get into real estate, or anyone, because those are the easiest way for us to build and scale, is because they trust you, you trust us. And like after they do their first flip, then they'll trust us even more. And so really just building that trust. So if there's like out-of-state investors that are like looking for a way to invest, obviously, you can always date us before you marry us is the way to put it. We're always like, we're not going to say no to any new connections or new investors that are looking to get into real estate. Come try it out with us, see how the process goes. If you have a great experience, buy more, and I think that's kind of a good way to look at it. Test the waters first, and hopefully we give you a great experience, and then refer us to all your friends.
Just a side. I know that you probably circulated this out, and this guy right here actually is engaged. Just wanna just do that little thing. We're gonna have it on like whole captions like that. So keep it Tenney. It's official.
It's official.
It is on the media.
I got engaged in Cleveland, Ohio.
Over the phone.
Over the.
It's about how we were living.
My girlfriend called me and was like, "All right, I can't handle it anymore. It's time. Like, I'm waiting no longer." I was like, "I don't have the ring yet," and she's like, "Well, if we're gonna tell people we're fiancés, you better ask me." And I was like, "Do you want me to ask you over the phone?" She's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right." So I was like, "Will you marry me?" And I'm like sweating my butt off in front of this like nasty house that like needs to be rehabbed in the middle of the street. I'm just like, I just got engaged on the streets of Cleveland, Ohio, over the phone. Not how I pictured it in my mind, but hey, it works.
Good stories.
Hey, good story. So
it works. And it works. It works the same way. It is realistically speaking, these guys are so they're genuine in who they are. They really kind. Some of the best people I've ever met. Some of the best friends that I've ever met in real estate, all genuinely across the board. Congratulations, brother. That's
Thank
one
you.
of the greatest relationships in real estate. Absolutely phenomenal. And you making sure to have fun while you're doing it is paramount, because if you don't, you end up bald, you end up dead, or something ends up happening.
Yeah.
You're ripping your hair out.
Yeah.
It's just straight to bald.
Straight to bald.
It's not even gray. It's just bald. So ultimately, yeah, guys, I want to thank you guys so much. Genuinely, in your business. You guys are gonna platform straight
in a
up.
good way.
In a good way.
Catastrophically awesome.
You're gonna catastrophically awesome. So, oh my God. So anyway, I thank you so much for the podcast. Seriously, all the best.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's
thank
do
you.
this again in a year.
Oh heck yeah! By that point, they're gonna have like 100. They're gonna be like, go to 1,000. No.
Let's go.
That was awesome.
And one quick thing.
Let's
The good old hoodie.
We need to start promoting merch after this.
I know.
Yeah, well,
That's
we want
really why
to
we're in it.
set up like an investor experience where like we fly people out and like have them stay at our Airbnb after you've bought so many properties from us, and like give them swag, like kind of make it like a milestone type thing. And who knows, that might be later on down the road, but we're doing it for ourselves right now. It's kind of fun.
Just
So,
give them a cool experience.
like, hey, after you
like,
buy your third property, you get a free weekend at our Airbnb in Cleveland.
Yeah,
you know?
come.
You all to Cedar Point.
Yeah,
go to Cedar
bring,
Point.
bring your family out. Go to Cedar Point. Give them Browns tickets or, Cavaliers tickets.
Something
or
fun. Just give them a little something, you know?
Yeah. So
Wouldn't that
Yeah.
be cool?
Almost like Grant Cardone-esque.
Totally.
You guys are jumping straight into that. Swing on our private jet. We'll take
yeah.
Yeah,
Not
that-
quite.
that'd be
It's,
nice.
Spirit Airlines. We'll
pay your.
Yeah, it might be a yellow plane, but we'll get you out there.
Just be aware, you're not gonna have a fun experience getting there, but you're gonna have a fun experience when you get there.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, for real, like for us, it's all about relationships and the experience. So it's just we would have fun doing that. So we're excited to do it. So it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again.
Hey, man. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you guys for watching, and genuinely, please let them know. It's all going to be in the comments and everything. Your social media. Please let them know where they find you, how they get connected with you.
Yeah. So Instagram, Braden Braithwaite _ Brite. So you can look me up on Instagram and connect with me there, or Facebook, LinkedIn.
Yeah,
So.
we'll drop our Instagrams in the comments below, but yeah, just DM us on Instagram. Yeah, if you're interested and want to look into it, having the courage to just take the step is, I know it's cheesy, but yeah, it is half the battle. But then finding people who know what they're talking about is the other half of the battle. And so now that we kind of know what we're talking about, I'd say we know what we're talking about more so than we did when we started.
Totally. And
it's helpful to go to people who've gone through the learning curve, and just we're happy to mentor people and take them, because we had no one really to mentor us. We just went for it.
Yep. Yeah. And I'll just end with this. Like, you're only 8 to 10 properties away from 6 figures of passive income. So that's kind of what we harp on with our guys of just getting these properties out here, is like, if you're cash flowing $900 to $1,200 a month, you're only 8 to 10 properties away from 6 figures passive. And that's 6 figures of active income is amazing. You know, that's a huge milestone for people. But if you can do that passively, well, now you have your time, you know, that you're not having to trade for that. So, but yeah, thanks for having us on. Stoked to be here.
Lokal real estate is the best.
Lokal is the best. They've helped us get all our properties. Let's go. So
don't use anyone else.
Yeah.
But
just kidding.
No, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much, and genuinely, local keys and contracts.
Okay, let's go.
Right on, man. Dude, right on, man.
Dirty Mike and the boys.
Dirty Mike and the boys.
Have you ever done that?
What?
Look.
You got a secret handshake going?
What?
No. Actually, this.
Oh.
And then get done.
Oh,
Hey.
there we go. We'll just,
Hey. Guy. Right on. Pleasure meeting you.